Uncle Madi, for talking to us. We've just seen that you've tendered a petition to the National Assembly, and now you just conducted another press conference. First of all, tell us what is the rationale behind tendering this public petition to the National Assembly?
Yeah, so the reason we submit this petition is to bring about transparency and accountability in the management and allocation of state lands. We have noticed since 2017, state lands have been indiscriminately allocated to a number of individuals inside government and outside government. And we have noticed a number of individuals, including organizations, institutions, private businesses, and other non-state organizations. But we've noticed among these there are a lot of individuals who do not qualify to get state lands. For example, some of the ministers and the president, and of course we saw the revelation that the leader of the opposition of UDP made about the allocation of state land, allocated for the Chief Justice to the president, which the Minister of Lands came to confirm. But of course, we saw a counter accusation also against, the opposition leader, where his family members are said to be allocated land. So all of that, 2017, a leak was out from the Minister of Lands, where you can see a number of ministers, the foreign minister, the sports minister, the health minister, the former vice president at the time, Asiri Ture, and other individuals, and who, when you go by the State Lands Act, a lot of these people don't qualify to get state land, because they already have their own personal lands, or at least one, so they don't qualify. So therefore, what is happening is we are having a government that is taking state lands to distribute it among themselves and people or organizations, businesses connected to them, enriching them at the detriment of the rest of Gambians. At a time also when state institutions are even rented, and it makes no sense why you will give state lands to an individual like me who already have my own land. If you give me a state land somewhere, I can build it and now go back and rent it to a state agency. So you are just making me rich out of the people, that is defrauding the people. And so it is important that we have an inquiry into this matter to make sure we expose the issue that anyone allocated land dutifully qualifies or not qualify. And those who do not qualify should be held to account. They should return the land, and those who gave them land, like the state officials, those state officials should be held to account because they are violating the law. So this is why we are submitting this, and we hope the National Assembly will look at it, accept it, and work on it.
Absolutely. Talking about the National Assembly, in fact, Uncle Madi, we're talking about an institution that is, for some, it's complicit, because of course we know National Assembly members have also been allocated lands. And how much trust do you, envision in the National Assembly? Because we're talking about it's possible that some people will question how much of transparent would they be, because they could be, found wanting as well. So how much of trust? Of course, this is the last resort for any democratic, Gambian to go to.
Well, National Assembly members, they call themselves honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable members. And when you say honorable, it's from the honor. All right. And honor is about dignity. It's about integrity. So we leave it to National Assembly members to demonstrate to us whether they are honorable or they are dishonorable. So I will not say I trust them or not trust them. The law gives me and every citizen the duty and the right to petition. And we've done that. And they set the time, the requirements for a petition. And to the best of our ability, we try to follow those steps. If we meet the steps, they should accept the petition. If we don't meet it, they should tell us why and how we did not meet it. So I would say we leave it to them. We've done our part, and we hope they will demonstrate that indeed they are honorable men and women. So we are waiting.
In an instance where the National Assembly make recommendations, like you said, for example, and they found that some of these lands were wrongfully allocated to other individuals, but then let's say the executive or those in authority decide to ignore, what would be your next step?
Well, the National Assembly, their findings said no unlawful allocation was made. We will see those findings because, for example, in the case of the president, he had submitted his assets before the IEC in 2021, in which he claimed ownership of at least one piece of land. So if he's given a state land on top of that, I want to see what finding would show that he did not qualify. Now, if the National Assembly findings also show a lot of, discrepancies, misallocation and so on, and made decisions, recommendations as to what to happen, we hope that the executive, the state, would implement them. Where the IGP needs to investigate and prosecute those who need to return the land, and so on, will do what they're supposed to do. Now, if they fail to do, we can challenge things in court. Yes, because, already a National Assembly decision is made. All right, but we can, do other peaceful means, civil disobedience, protests, and so on. So we'll just have to wait to see what recommendations will come out. But we are not out of options as to what to do.
Finally, before I let you go, Uncle Madi, what would be your last words insofar as this subject matter is concerned?
Well, this subject matter comes within the wider context of the corruption in this society perpetrated by public officials. We're talking about land. Currently, as we are talking about, there's an inquiry in the parliament on petroleum products. Before that petroleum issue came, we remember Gam petroleum case was also there, which the state failed to prosecute properly. All right. But apart from that, we've seen the Auditor General's reports. We've seen reports by investigative journalists. Just yesterday, the Republic published the fish meal factories, actions in the coastal areas. All right. And the story goes on and on and on because of the culture of corruption in this government. And that corruption is what is undermining good governance and sustainable development in this country. Now, all citizens need to be aware of that by now the government has shown us that they are not interested to curtail corruption, all right, to curtail inefficiency, all right. They want more salaries, more allowances. We have seen the salaries they want to increase, more benefits, incentives for themselves, but the government does not want to work. So corruption and underperformance, lack of delivery is what is in the government, and they have shown us that that is what they are interested in, not to make sure the rule of law is respected, human rights are respected in this country. So which means what I will tell citizens to realize that if you're a citizen, you have rights and duties to make sure that the constitution is upheld, that human rights are protected, that public resources are well managed, that there is transparency and accountability. So get up, speak up, protest, go to the parliament, go to the courts. We have Information Commission, the National Human Rights Commission. Utilize all these mechanisms to make sure you combat corruption, underperformance, poor service delivery, and the abuse of office that is taking place in this country. That is what every citizen needs to do. Thank you. But just to say, this petition may have been submitted by the three of us, but I want to believe this petition is the Gambian people's petition. That every Gambian citizen who is concerned about the good governance of the Gambia, about transparency and accountability, about the management of public resources, takes this as your personal petition and interest, and so get involved. So that when this thing goes through a process in the National Assembly, until they reach a point now they made recommendations. The National Assembly, when they make recommendations or let's say take decisions on the floor of the Parliament, the executive is bound by law to implement those decisions. Failure to do so would constitute contempt of court. So it is not a matter of what me and you do, it is also the National Assembly to know that they have made decisions and ensure that their decisions are enforced by the executive. And if they fail to do, to hold the executive accountable. The National Assembly has those powers. They can do a lot of things. Now, as citizens, as you said, we can go to court, for example, but we can also organize civil disobedience to tell the people to protest until government implements those recommendations. That also is an option that we have. As he said, we have many legal, non-violent, peaceful, democratic means to employ. We can name and shame them, all right, and so on. So in any case, we are not going to relent until we see justice is done. And we do not think this is a matter for few of us, but we think this is a matter for all Gambians. Yes, all Gambians.
In an instant now, National Assembly comes up.
So I think for us, our business is not whether it's going to be finding that they acquire the land. That's what we want. All we want is transparency and accountability. There are laws in requiring state lands, and we want to make sure that the due process is followed in all the land allocation. So if we found out that, we know that the government has done right in allocating lands, and then otherwise we ensure that we hold them accountable for not following the due process. So that is a simple game. The game is we are interested in knowing the procedures and in how legal is it in the appointment in the allocation of those lands to those individuals. So if we find out correct, now we have given Gambians, have given themselves an opportunity to know that their public officials have done the right thing. Otherwise, we go ahead with accountability measures and ensure that we hold them accountable for doing the wrong thing.
We are law-abiding citizens.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, ask the question.
Their work easy. Responding again to the brother who asked about if we found out that it was in a due process. My question was going to be surely, how could the president and vice president benefit from a state allocated land with hefty salaries, with good facilities, and every other thing, privileges that they have? With the monies that they had, can't they use it to buy their own lands? So definitely, Flex, for that question, my response will be, we will be very happy to know how that goes. One, because we are not aware. So yeah, my colleagues are also not aware, but we will be very happy to know how it goes. And it will also help us in following up this petition, because now we will now be able to know what next we are going to take in the other one. Again, Madi mentioned, coming to the first question, Madi mentions all citizens. For me, being opposition, being the ruling, being everybody who knows that this is of interest to you, you will be welcome to work with us. Because what we want transparency. Again, there are oppositions who are there, whose hands are very clean in this thing. So if we try to reject maybe, or not accommodating them, it could also be distancing people who could even give us a valuable information. So to me, I think we will get each and every person who of this is interest to you. Like Madi said, we might be 3 of us here. We might not even be the people that have 10, but there are people out there who are just interested to know the outcome of this petition.
There's so much corruption in this country. And corruption is a cancer. The poverty in this country, the poor services in this country, the lack of opportunities, the reason our young people want to cross the seas to go and seek greener pasture somewhere else, and so on, are all, for me, coming out of that culture of corruption in this country, for which there is no accountability. Since 2017, one can see that only one public official was ever, put before a court and, got convicted for corruption. But even they are pardoned, less than half of the time. Okay, 1 or 2 other cases against public officials are going in the courts. An anti-corruption commission is yet to be set up, but a law has been set up against corruption. And what is all this corruption about? Is the failure, or the deliberate misconduct within the public sector in the way they manage public resources, in the way they carry out decisions and actions. And that is making citizens deprived, impoverished, and and all the difficulties that they face. And Gambia, especially when we talk about the new Gambia from 2017, we are not going to ensure sustainable development, opportunities for all, equal opportunities for all, ensure peace and stability in this country if we don't make sure that we bring transparency and accountability in the public sector. So this is about fighting corruption, fighting abuse of office, fighting abuse of power, to make sure that the rule of law is upheld and human rights are protected. Lands, as we said, are a national resource, and all Gambians deserve land in this country. So that if the state is supposed to give land, it has to be very, very set very clear terms, so that no one is disadvantaged and no one is unfairly advantaged. So this is the point, and we want all Gambians, to support this petition. We hope the National Assembly, we are calling on them to accept this petition. As we said, we did everything to meet the requirements of the petition process, and we look forward to what they will do. And if they do accept it, we look forward to the inquiry and the recommendations or decisions they will make and the enforcement of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and also to every Gambian. Like Madi said, like my colleague said, this is a fight for every Gambian, and it is to ensure that we fight against corruption, we fight against mismanagement of state resources, and then to ensure we promote transparency in our governance system. We look forward to having the National Assembly accept this petition, and then we'll move it from there. In the meanwhile, we will keep you posted as we follow up and also continue to call on the demands in this petition to be answered and to be accepted. Thank you.